The shortest story ever. It's the story about a man that was in love with a woman that lived on the other side of the mountain. And the even though their villages were separated by just a mere 5 kilometers, which anybody would be able to walk in just maybe about 2 hours at most. Instead, it was a 2 week trip up the mountain in treacherous terrain and risking your life. So he could only see her maybe once, sometimes 3 times a year, and then he had to come back. It was terrible. And they vowed to one day um, get together and live together. And so it is that one day the man was not able to make the journey to see her because it was not feeling well. And he was usually the one to go see her. And when she didn't hear about him and she didn't get any letters or any kind of information, she decided to make the journey herself. And when she did, uh, the the man on the other side of the mountain was feeling better, and so without letting her know that he was just gonna still go even though he was late, he started the journey himself. At one point, they both met at top of the mountain, and they were surprised to see each other because, of course, this is hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There was no phones or things like that. If you lived on the other side of the mountain, you usually didn't see each other. They just did it because they loved each other. But most people, unless there was mail to be delivered or some commerce to be made, rarely would anyone risk their lives to cross the mountain for something like that. And so they were very, very surprised to see each other in the mountain. But at the same time, a bad feeling started to sink in. There was a storm coming, and there was nowhere to go because they were halfway between both their worlds. And so they decided to take shelter. At least they had each other. But the storm grew stronger, and things became so much colder. And before you knew it, both of them fell asleep. They left their bodies, and they went into the next dimension together, holding hands. And they understood that this whole illusion of life had been but a learning experience in separation, and why both had to be reunited in such a hard ways. Because in the other dimension, you can be united with anybody, anytime, all the time if you want. There is no separation, so things are different. So in order to experience separation, they chose to be born in villages apart with this mountain in the middle. Yes, pequeñín?
Could that happen if you kill yourself? Like, in purpose?
That's called suicide. And it doesn't matter how your body stops functioning. What matters is how you feel inside. Most people that kill themselves, they kill themselves because they are so unhappy with life that they cannot bear be alive a moment longer. Sadly for them, they find out that on the other side, they're still very much alive and they still have the same things that made them sad. Only now they can become real far more easier. And so those people in the other world create a dimension that reflects all of their sadness and fears. And usually they're not in a very happy place, but it's all a matter of their creation. They can be there for a minute or they can be there for their whole lives because there's no time. And as such, they create a very bad reality for themselves. Not because they killed themselves. That's not the big deal. It's because of the reason that led them to want to abandon this life. And usually they need help from other beings in the other dimension to try to bring them out of that state of desperation, sadness, and fear. Now, that said, it doesn't matter how your body dies. What matters is how you feel when your body dies. And I'm not talking about if you feel ticklish or if you feel like you're hungry. I'm talking about how much you learned from this life, if you're satisfied with the things you did in your life, if you think that your life was worth living, those kinds of feelings. If you feel that you made a difference in other people's life, a positive one. If you feel like you accomplished your dreams, then at that point, it doesn't matter how your body starts working. When you go into the other side, it's like a job well done, you know? It's like when you start building a Lego and then you take 2 steps back at the end and you look at it and you're like, wow, that was an awesome thing I created.
Yeah, like my rocket.
Yes, but imagine something that you built throughout your whole life. If you think that rocket is cool, wait until you've built things throughout your whole life for 60, 70, 80, 90 years or more. You're going to be amazed at the things that you can do and the difference you can make in other people's lives. Directly and indirectly, because you can be nice to others or you can simply create things that help other people, or both. Or you can simply be nice to your own kids and your own family, and that spreads the love. At any rate, what matters most is how much you get out of life, know how soon you get out of it.
Okay.
The end.
Best story ever.
Yay. Good night, pequeñín.